Welcome back, and we had an amazing reaction to our new segment last week, particularly from Malcolm Blight, who was delighted to watch himself kicking the winning goal back in 1976, and not so delighted with his to-camera piece by candlelight when the lights went out at Waverley 20 years later. Well, round 11 over the years has thrown up some memorable moments in football history. Let's get all wistful together because, like dried mud falling from the stops of a well-worn puma, so are the rounds of our lives. Tortured analogies every week for the rest of the season. Feel free to contribute.
Oh, I like that. Malcolm Blight, see, that's what's great about this segment. You go back and everybody remembers the big kick, but not how awkward he was in front of the camera. So,
well, they were conditions when the lights went out that would have tested the most professional newsman of our time.
You know, just in that footage when we showed it, a couple of mates of mine actually identified each other as being part of the riotous group.
Oh, of course.
And
I'm not surprised.
They're both respectable married men now.
Well, I still reckon you were in there somewhere and you're not fessing up. Our journey back through time starts today at Windy Hill in 1991. And yes, I'm so old I can say I was covering this game. Essendon versus Melbourne. Scores are tight. Right in the final few seconds. Let's throw to the action.
Melbourne have got to get a clean possession and kick a goal to draw it. Clark caught high. Free kick. 6 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they need a mark. You'll have to go a torpedo punt.
Time to go. It has. Can Stephen Clark kick the goal from 55 metres out? Well, some people on the ground already. It's unfair. Let's see if Clark has got to poise, maintain his concentration. Really chaos here now. The longer he waits, the harder it's going to be to police this.
Yeah, Madden and Flood has sprinted from the full forward line and try and bottle up that pocket and square area.
Clark, torpedo, kicks it magnificently. Will it get there? Oh no, it's been touched. It's been touched. And have a look at that for a chaotic scene.
How can you give a score now?
Unbelievable scenes here. Not good enough, really, is it?
No. There's some crowd in the fight too.
I reckon years from now we'll be talking about incidents like that and people will say, oh, back in the dim, distant past. But it actually doesn't feel like that long ago. And amazing scenes. I remember Melbourne were filthy about it. But, Essendon had about 28 players on the mark there with half the crowd. And Stephen Clark, the late Stephen Clark.
Very sad. Played for St Kilda and Essendon as well.
And
as
Essendon, could have played in the 85 premiership side. But
beautiful kick.
Yeah. Well, look, he gave it a real nudge. But, it's a bit difficult when you've got to kick over about 88 people on the mark.
And that's what he said. He sort of went to kick it and he wasn't complaining about the guy on the mark. I reckon must have been a kid there. There was another kid dragging a gammy leg.
Well, remember the famous footage of Kerry Good winning the night grand final for North Melbourne against Collingwood. There's several people almost diving across his boot. Was Glenn Archer one of them?
Yeah, he ran out there as a Collingwood supporter.
Good start. Anyway, well, that's where we start. That was our number 5. We're actually voting and ranking them every week now. So number 4.
We just rank anything on this program.
Yeah, why not? We're all. Hey, we work for a newspaper, mate. We only want to know about listicles these days. Number 4 is the mark of. Oh no, in fact, I don't think it was. Should have been the mark of the year in 2001, and it's Chris Tarrant playing for Collingwood against Melbourne at the MCG. Check this out.
Collingwood have responded by putting Dimartina in the forward pocket, trying to drag Woden away from the play.
Block his kick inside the 50.
That's a great one.
Over the top. What a mark. Could well be the mark of the year, that one. Chris Tarrant. Huge leap. Came down the front of the pack as if it were a waterfall.
The Royal Decree has it that this is definitely the mark of the year. I haven't seen anybody up that high for some time.
Certainly wasn't a soft landing, was it? Always a good sign of how high the blokes come when it takes him about 5 minutes to recover. I'm just trying to remember what was the mark of the year in 2001.
I can't remember. You know that what he did there would go on a couple of years later, I think, to be outlawed by the AFL.
Why? What did he do?
He was wearing the 3/4 Bradley plain sleeves.
And they banned them?
Yeah, they banned them.
On what grounds?
Well, just uniformity. They just wanted short sleeves or long sleeves.
They tackle the big issues, don't they?
Yeah.
Of course, Tarrant, was it the following year, 2002, that he did take the Mark of the Year against Geelong at Etihad Stadium? He was a pretty good player, Chris Tarrant.
He was a
wasn't
very good player. And of course, he went to Fremantle, came back as a defender,
Yeah.
and he didn't finish his career badly. I think actually an underrated footballer. I heard the discussion as to whether or not Cloak has been the best key position forward at Collingwood since Peter McKenna, and Tarrant should be in that discussion.
Well, I mean, he basically reinvented himself, didn't he? And
I like
became
him.
almost as good at the other end of the ground. Okay, you're going to love this next one, particularly you old Fitzroy fans. We're going back to Princes Park, 1992.
Oh, yes.
It's Fitzroy versus Collingwood. Tell us the story after.
Oh,
It's
this is great.
Fitzroy versus Collingwood.
I love this.
Paul Roos, of course, one of the last remaining stars for the Lions, who've lost one, Gary Pert, to Collingwood at the start of a season. It's the end of the game. Scores are tight. Let's see what happens.
Manson with the fly. Well played, Stevens. Left foot though by Collingwood by Fraser. Seacap, oh, here's the goal. Pert goals. Collingwood in front.
What about the irony of that? Gary Pert. First, will ruck. And we're down to 40 seconds now. Monkhorst back
Good
towards
play.
the boundary intelligently, but Broderick in the road.
Left foot guard with a chance. Paid. Too far out to score, you'd think. He's kicked 3. There's 30 seconds remaining. Must go quickly now. Last chance for Fitzroy. What a fitting finish this is. Roos! No, unable. Still an opportunity. Abbott can't crash his way through. Roos' left foot kick is a goal! Unbelievable finish. Well, you talk about irony. Roos to match Pert. What a contest. 13, 14, 13, 11. And Don, if ever a captain has kicked a goal, it was then.
How good was that? You couldn't have written a better script, really, could you?
Oh, I couldn't have, because I took a footy quad that day with my best mate, Matey Miller, and we were at St Kilda Geelong at Cardinia Park. St Kilda lost by 12 points, which was considered an amazingly good result. We were rank outsiders, a couple of other wins. We got it, had to listen to that in the car. That was a very late finish. Paid $10,000.
Oh, well done. Well, I want it noted very quickly that it was my former John Gardner High School colleague, Paul Abbott, who crashed through that pack and created the crumbs for Roosie
Jeremy
to kick the winning goal.
Gard kicked the ball in.
He did. There's some blasts from the past. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Another memorable finish, this time from the 21st century. We're going to Etihad Stadium, 2002. The hapless Carlton. Can they finally get a win? It looks like they might pinch one. They're playing Geelong, and unfortunately for them, the Cats have other ideas.
It's given the Blues the lead. They lead it by 2 points. The Blues flood back. 26 seconds remaining in the contest. Can the Cats get it inside their 50 and get a shot on goal? A blistering final term from the Blues. They trailed a reminder by 37 points at three-quarter time. King and Houghton winning it down. Camporelli dispossessed. Corey, Kilpatrick misses the body with the handball. Now Clark, short ball, got a target. Riccardi has taken the mark inside the 50.
It is in good hands. It is in good hands.
The
I've got to tell
siren
you.
is going to sound, Gary. This shot on goal will be after the siren, and he has to kick it for the Cats to win. There it is.
I tell you what, has there been a more dramatic last quarter of footy, and goals scored after the siren have been in vogue? I tell you, this is a massive kick from lots of perspectives. I can't believe this last quarter, boys. It is
3
in good
goals
hands.
on the day for Peter Riccardi, one of the most skilled exponents of the set shot in the game. Let's watch the fate of the match riding on Peter Riccardi. It leaves the boot. It's swinging back. The Cats have stolen victory from the jaws of defeat at Colonial Stadium. What a
Great
finish.
stuff.
Oh, it was fantastic.
How's the outswing on the ball? That was another one I was in the press box for. The outswing on the ball came off his boot. Looked like it was going out in the full.
Well, it didn't just come off his boot, it was smothered.
Yeah, well,
That he got too close to the man on the mark, and footage shows clearly the ball being touched off the mark.
and of course, Finey, had it happened this season, we would have gone to the video review and the guy would have gone, result inconclusive,
Actually,
umpire's call.
I know that's what normally happens, but there was clearly the fingers being bent back.
Do you reckon?
When you watch something like that, you know, I've got one word for that result.
What?
Camporelli. I mean, that ball got tapped out in the middle, 20 seconds to go straight to him.
And hello to Stephen Silvani if you're watching too. Michael Long, 1993 Grand Final. Still love it. Okay, let's go to the number one moment. Now, we do take the you-know-what a fair bit on this show, but this is one of the great moments in footy history. The year is 2003. Jason McCartney, of course, has been a victim of the Bali bombings and was in real danger of losing his life, recovered very courageously and somehow managed to get himself back to a stage where he's ready to play for North Melbourne again. They play Richmond in a big Friday night game, and this is how it unfolded in the last quarter. Let's have a look.
Body by Robbins, clever, got it to Grant, ran into trouble, taken down by Bowden. Brown again, got it to King, penetrating kick inside the 50, McCartney behind, and McCartney has taken the mark. And listen to that roar.
And look, and I am just so full of praise for the people with this sense of sportsmanship here. There's people in the Richmond cheer squad applauding him this effort here. It is set up, I tell you what.
That mark was all about determination.
Well, he's got dray loads of it. Imagine the lift this will give the Kangaroos. You dare say, as his wife Carissa looks on, if he kicks this, they will be very hard to toss.
What a start to the term it would be. Jason McCartney knows how to kick them. Bounced alongside him, a companion. He kicks inside the 50. Gatterwood's full forward, runs the ball. McCartney toe pokes it. Picked up by Harding. He goes in. Another lead change.
Pace of Harding once again. Once again, Lee Harding can split things open. He can break the game with his pace here. But Jason McCartney just had the sense.
Yeah, I suppose this is no better time than I think I've used up every inch of my determination through my fitness and I suppose mental effort, and I find it fitting now that I'll hang the boots up as of tonight and go out on a great note, because I'm spent. It's been a tough time, but that's enough for me, mate.
What a great way to go out. I still remember the shock I felt as he announced his retirement there on the spot.
Yeah, look, some narratives ascribed to football, tortured and schmaltzy, and he was the embodiment of the survival and the fighting spirit of the worst attack on Australians, non-wartime attack in the history of our nation. I mean, this was a tragic event, and his courage to get back out there, he physically, to get out there, had to endure enormous amount of, with skin grafts, enormous amount of pain. He shouldn't have really played in that game. And fairy tales do happen sometimes, and that was one of them.
Ripping
great
bloke, and still involved in AFL football too. So, look, a wonderful story. And like you say, those spontaneous moments, they're the moments that I think stick with you the longest.
Little kid from nil amounted to a whole lot.